Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Grevlin coming to you from Chicago, as usual. And I've got a quickie today. This one's an interesting hearing out of 3B, but it's a little on the serious side. I just had to do a shorter one after the marathon yesterday in Judge Manning's courtroom. Oh, good Lord. That thing was over 4 hours long. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was quality through and through. It just kept surprising me how it how it could continue to get crazier. But today we've got a serious probation violation in 3B. We've got Deborah Davis there arguing it, doing a fantastic job. It's a skosh on the serious side. So I had to go over to Knox County and let our favorite Wilford Brimley-esque judge bring us in. Let's do it.
All right, sir. Can you tell me how long you've lived in the Knoxville area?
How long?
That don't help me unless I know how old you are. How many years?
52 years.
And you can question any witnesses or evidence that the government puts up against you.
That's right. Had to put government in there.
To do here this afternoon, and we'll get everyone. Tried to use these days here at the end of the year to fit some things in.
I don't know where that is. I've done so many. In fact, I was thinking about doing a review thing because a lot of people have asked me to for 22. I still don't know if I can do it, but I've done, over 300 videos this year. I can't find any of them anymore. I don't know. That clip, it was a judge out of Lansing. She doesn't have a playlist. I have no idea. If it's not on the thumbnail, which it probably wasn't because it's probably a mixed video, who knows? If somebody knows, put it in the chat for me, please.
And so we're going to be actually kind of busy today and tomorrow morning. I don't think tomorrow afternoon is going to be too bad. We have a matter we have to complete here. It's in the matter of Joseph Michael Bunning. Mr. Bunning is here with his attorney, Timothy George. He was charged with operating with a high blood alcohol level, pled to operating while intoxicated, and was placed on probation. Let me get my sheet up here. That was back in May of this year, and he did a good job for a while. He did a lot, frankly. He went inpatient, in a sober living house. He was engaging in treatment, and Daniel Frazine, his probation officer, was impressed. He was involved in AA, and he was doing okay until about August or September when the wheels fell off. This is in the matter of People versus Joseph Michael Bunning, placed on probation in May of 2022. His probation agent, Daniel Frazine, petitioned for a probation violation. Essentially, Joseph sort of fell off the map. We had a hearing scheduled for October, and he didn't come.
Have you ever had a failure to appear?
Possibly. He did appear for a probation violation arraignment.
Correlation isn't causation, Andrew.
December 21st, he was arraigned on the probation violation. I appointed an attorney for him. He was actually here on the 20th, and he was intoxicated. And he was taken into custody at that time. His blood alcohol
was just in Florida.
0.20.
And it was cold.
Drove here. And so he was found in contempt, given 24 hours of jail for that. And then we tried to deal with the matter later on the 22nd. that point, I entered a plea of not guilty for Mr. Bunning and appointed Mr. George to represent him at this probation violation hearing. Mr. Bunning, the allegation is that you violated.
I mean, this is all serious. He's got a probation violation. Namely, he gets drunk and drives to court to deal with his prior DUI and his probation. I mean, it's sad. Obviously, he's got a huge problem. Could there be a clearer definition of a problem than that? You got to get drunk to go deal with your DUI and drive to court. That's a full goat.
Your probation by failing to report, failing to pay fines and costs, failing to continue participation in treatment, and continuing to use alcohol. Daniel is on a Christmas break right now, but we could have one of the agents come up if we do need testimony. As a result of your driving to court,
Okay, I'm coming over.
between what you said on the record and the video and your blood alcohol, they've charged you with another drunk driving offense for driving to court. And that is set for a pre-exam conference next Tuesday, January 3rd. And your lawyer in that matter is Mr. Timothy George. Mr. George, what does your client wish to do regarding the probation violation application?
Your Honor, my client is willing to admit. I would let the court know that I did advise him of what the recommendation was and the general disposition of the court regarding that recommendation.
Daniel had recommended 7 days in jail, which you just did. You did 2 at the front end, and the original was 7 to 9 days, and you just did 7 more. In addition, you have a new case pending with a $75,000 cash or surety bond. My intention, Mr. Bunning, is to give you 9 days in jail, credit 9 days, revoke this probation, which has failed, and reserve on the fines and costs. If you're convicted in the new case, we're then going to have to figure out where we go from there. But addiction is a
Thank you, Iris.
cruel mistress. And you did well for about 4 or 5 months, and then it sneaked up and grabbed you again, to the extent that you were intoxicated 2.5 times when you came to court. So do you acknowledge that you violated your probation by failing to report, failing to pay, and consuming alcohol?
Yes, sir.
I understand, and I told you this before, you have a right to have a hearing on this where it had to be established beyond preponderance that you did violate the probation, and Mr. George would be here with you if we actually took testimony regarding that. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept your plea. You've had 7 days to think about this over Christmas. Your birthday's in 2 days. Had some time to reflect. I had a serious concern about getting your car off the street for a couple of reasons. I didn't want to leave it on the street, and a blizzard was coming. I didn't want it to get wrecked or plowed in or be an obstacle. The bailiff advised me that with your permission, you did get the vehicle moved, and it's at the sheriff's department. Is that true?
Yes.
All right. Mr. George, anything else you wish to say?
No, I think that my client's just eager to get this part of it behind him. Obviously, we're facing another challenge starting next week.
Yeah, you're facing another challenge.
My client was employed at the time that he was arrested. He indicated that was at Denzo in Battle Creek. And as the court said, this type of addiction is something that my client's going to be dealing with for the rest of his life. It's the struggle of a lifetime. And, my hope is that we can hope to come to some type of treatment plan in the coming months that can help get him back on the right track. Thank you.
You may need some medically assisted treatment at some point. I think I had considered you as a sobriety court candidate, but you were living in Battle Creek.
I didn't start that.
And I'm not sure if you're in Battle Creek or Sturgis. I don't want you to tell me any more about it, but you told me that you didn't drive all the way here from Battle Creek, but you need some serious help. And as I said, Daniel was pleased with how the probation was going. You weren't faking it. You were really trying to do treatment. I think you were participating in your treatment sessions, you were going to AA, you were trying to help other
Hold on. Deborah does not like this situation at all. You'll see.
people. That may be part of the problem. You were too worried about helping other people and forgot about yourself. Ms. Davis, we did discuss this before we went on the record. Anything else you wish to add?
I looked at my notes, Your Honor. Just wanted to point out to the court before you make your final decision that when we were here for his plea, originally it was going to be a no contest to an OWI with a high BAC, but because of the work that he had done up until that point and the concern about having a license so he could see his children and he could go to work, I agreed on that day to reduce it to an OUIL first. And my notes were that I said, because of the seriousness of the case and the reduction made, if there is any probation violation related to alcohol, I will be hard pressed to not ask for a substantial amount of jail time. And the defendant said that he understood that. And here we are.
Translation. Don't cross Deborah when she's trying to be nice to you. I don't blame her.
There was a period of time where I think he was off the book. I don't know what he was doing. If he fell off the map back in August, September, we're now in the end of December. I don't know what he's been doing the last several months, but I do know from the evidence that has been brought forth that there was an issue with him consuming alcohol and coming to court and operating a motor vehicle. I understand that's a separate case. We have charged him with an OWI third for that. However, this recommendation from Mr. Frazine, I don't think it encompasses what happened last week. And
I love it.
He wasn't even here. Autumn did a brief update, but yeah, Daniel hasn't had a chance to give his 2 cents worth. I don't think he even knows that all
Right.
that's happening.
And I guess my concern is we have a few days to go until we have a preliminary exam conference and potentially a preliminary exam. And he has a significant alcohol problem. I'm frankly shocked that he didn't end up hospitalized with having to go to jail to detox the way that he did. I understand there was some concern of the jail staff that might become an issue. It didn't, so that's a good thing. But here we are, and this went from a high BAC where he nearly hit a man in his vehicle, and then he ran into a house. He had a firearm. This is serious stuff. And to just say, well, you tried, you did good on probation for a while, and then you fell off the map for like 4 months, but now you're here. I'm hard pressed to not ask for a lot of jail, and I understand it's not my decision. It's just a recommendation, but I'd ask the court to take into consideration what the underlying reason is that he was on this probation and the benefit that was given to him with this plea agreement, and he squandered it. And I get that addiction, it is a cruel mistress, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of tools and resources provided to him. There was the opportunity for sobriety court if he would have lived here. We talked about even putting him in sobriety court in Calhoun County, and I guess it just never came to fruition. And maybe sobriety court is an option for him coming up with this next one. I don't know. But what I do know is he could have killed someone or himself. He had the highest blood alcohol that I've had come in front of me in my career thus far at a 0.472, and he was still on 2 feet, driving a vehicle down the road. So yes. I feel like this is more.
That requires a little emphasis. A 0.472. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. That's a full goat.
Significant than your average OWI. Thank you.
Very well spoken. Everything you said is spot on. you got a substantial deal. There was a gun involved in this. You were that drunk with a gun. And one of these days, this was always a concern with Judge Noacker when we were giving people restricted driver's licenses. That one day we were going to give somebody a restricted license and then they were going to kill somebody. Well, fortunately, it never happened. One of these days, we're going to take a reduced plea on somebody and they're going to kill somebody. Fortunately, it wasn't you. And everything that Ms. Davis said is exactly correct. Were it not for the fact that you have a new felony case pending, I would have probably just done 93 days in jail. But we're going to start over again on Tuesday. You're not going to get out. So it's just a matter of
That's a full goat.
accounting.
Every time.
Of course, at this point, you're presumed to be innocent on the other case until such time it can be proven, but the facts are pretty compelling.
Yes, frankly, I'm concerned that he will bond out. He had what appears to be a good paying job. Surely he's got friends and family that love him and support him. I'm just concerned that he's not going to continue his punishment for this and then he's going to get out and we could have a serious problem.
Mr. George, anything else you wish to say?
No, I think that I understand the prosecutor's position, but a lot of this, I think we're dealing with the new felony case, and that is a significant bond.
I mean, she has the facts on her side, but I did like it. They were going along with what I believe is a Killebrew plea, and he's saying, I'm going to give you 9 days or whatever. And it seemed like Tim George is a good attorney, and of course Judge Milton is a great judge, are on that path. And Deborah throws a wrench into the works, and rightfully so. And both of them, and not in a bad way, just in a professional way, like, yeah, it's hard to argue with. I mean, even the defense attorney, which is the right play, by the way, it's the best thing for your client. He sees the tide turning, and being aggressive here is not the play. Everyone's doing the right thing, but both the judge and the defense attorney are like, yeah, this is hard to defend.
And we're going to be dealing with that on Tuesday. We'll have an idea of what the prosecutor's looking to do in relation to that case. I'll be able to go over that with my client. I think the recommendation at this point is something that the court should seriously consider with the bond set where it's at.
That's a thought that I had not considered. The bond was sufficiently high. We just assumed that he wouldn't post it. But we've seen very high bonds posted.
I get it, and the judge is aware of this, but we just saw this where a DUI went down in flames. I can't remember, in a recent video because the sample wasn't there. Or something like that. So yeah, and that's the conclusion the judge comes to. But you got to deal with this case itself and this violation. This guy's dangerous, and he's probably going to be convicted on the other one. But let's not bank on that because you don't know what's going to happen there.
As a practical matter, Mr. Bunning, I don't want you out until we figure out what we're going to do with this next case. This probation has failed, but we may try again, or we may just try to lock you up for as long as possible as a matter of public protection. We aren't to that point yet. But I had made a representation to you that I was going to give you 9 days in jail. If I don't do that, you'd have a right to withdraw your admission and start from scratch. What's your consideration there?
We're okay to proceed, Your Honor.
There'll be good time calculated in this. 69 days, credit 9, leaving 60 days to serve. The other case should be well on its way. As I said,
I almost missed that because he's so soft spoken. So he gives him 69 days instead of 9. He's setting a few days on his felony DUI, but I think that's for what it's worth. I think it's a good ruling.
This may just be a matter of accounting, particularly if you're not going to post your bond. Your probation is revoked, and I reserve all the fines and costs for potentially the next case. Your life is on hold right now, but it needs to be for the safety of you and the safety of the public. When your blood alcohol gets that high, it's so dangerous. And we were concerned the day we had you taken into custody that you might need a medical detox. But we got through it. Now you've been 7 days without any alcohol and your body's starting to recover. And you need more than 7 days. All right, that's my ruling. You can go with the officer, and good luck. Either me or Judge Pattison will see you on Tuesday.
Well, there you have it. 69 days, credit 9 served, and an appointment with Judge Pattison on Tuesday. I feel bad, but that's just purely public safety issue. The guy seems nice. He's listening to his attorney. He otherwise works. It seems like this guy literally has exactly one problem, which is alcohol. Other than that, he seems to function just fine. So it's not a personal thing, but you just don't want to see somebody die over this. And that is right where we are headed without major intervention here. And it's limited what the courts can do. Sometimes they can just take you off the street and that's it. They're trying to give them stuff. They had them in a program, and I get that those don't always work, but they tried the rehabilitative approach first, and it just failed miserably. You get that kind of drunk to drive to court, presumably to handle your DUI issue. That's a rough one. Goat lovers. Okay, so there's a big divide in the chat, but the goat is coming through. I haven't seen the poll because I can't read it from whatever. I'm in StreamYard. I have to go over to YouTube to see it. But I saw briefly the poll. At least in the beginning, the goat was doing well. The goat was doing well. But I have a lot of people saying, "Dude, you got to get rid of that goat." And then a lot of people love the goat. And frankly, I understand both points of view. Because the goat is horribly annoying, but that's why it's fantastic. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with the goat. I don't know what to do with the goat. But thank you all for coming out. I'll see you soon.